Well, it's that time again. Let's walk in faith, talk about anime, and grow together. Welcome to Reb's Otaku Talk. Hey Otaku family, welcome back to Reb's Otaku Talk Studio Ghibli Fest. I'm your host Rev, and with me is my co-host K2.
Howdy, howdy.
This season we're diving deep into the whimsical, heartfelt worlds of Studio Ghibli, where fantasy meets faith and wonder points us back to the creator. Whether you're a lifelong Ghibli fan or just discovering these animated masterpieces, we're here to explore each story through the lens of Christian values. From the skies of Laputa to the forest of Totoro, we'll uncover powerful themes, spiritual insights, and the beauty of God's truth woven into every frame. So grab your favorite snack, open your heart, and get ready for a journey where faith and fandom soar together. This is your Christ Walk with Otaku Talk. Studio Ghibli Fest starts now. So in today's episode, we will venture into the curious and courageous world of the secret world of Arrietty, to see how, like Arrietty, we can be courageous in a world of fear and uncertainty. The Secret World of Arrietty was released in Japan in 2010 and then in the US in 2012. It is a Studio Ghibli film based on Mary Norton's classic novel, The Borrowers. It tells the story of Arrietty, a tiny 14-year-old borrower who lives secretly beneath the floorboards of a human home with her parents. Borrowers survive by quietly taking small items that humans won't miss, like sugar cubes or tissue paper, to build their hidden lives. Arrietty, curious and brave, longs to see more of the world above, even though her family warns her of the dangers of being discovered by humans. Her life changes when she is spotted by Sho, a sickly human boy who comes to stay at the house despite the warnings that interaction with humans could endanger her family. Arrietty forms a tentative friendship with Sho, built on kindness and trust. But when the humans around Sho begin to suspect Borrower's existence, Arrietty and her family must make the difficult choice about survival and moving on. The story beautifully weaves themes of courage, trust, and the fragile balance between two very different worlds. So, K2, the secret world of Arrietty.
Yes. I
actually really like this one.
Okay.
It's a different take on The Borrowers. I don't know if you remember watching The Borrowers back in like the late 90s.
No.
But the whole story of The Borrowers I thought was always kind of whimsical and funny. And to see Ghibli's interpretation of it gave it, to me, a little bit more elegant.
Okay.
But it also gave it a wider realm of adventure. Because whenever you watch the live action one that again was made in like the late 90s, early 2000s, it was strictly in the house and, directly around the house.
Okay.
And even though the Secret World of Arrietty was the same way, because that's just the realm of that world, they still gave depth just to that one area where you kind of saw what it was like to go through the yard.
Right.
You saw what it was like to, go up on the roof.
Yep.
And it kind of expanded its own little world.
Yeah.
In comparison to other interpretations of the movie, which was really, really for me, kind of cool.
Yeah.
And, also not to mention the fact that it gave a more serious turn to it as well, whenever it came to Sho and his illness.
Yep.
But it also gave it, to me, like another layer of feels.
Okay.
Especially whenever it hit the end, and Arrietty is heading down the river, and he says, "My heart is strong now because you're in it," and it's like that hits you in the feels.
Deep.
That's really deep. And personally, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the characters. thought that the way, even down to the recording, where some of the older Ghibli stuff, how the voices just didn't seem to, like, it was almost like it was outside of the movie whenever you watched it, because the vocals just didn't seem to be mixed in that well, like with Nausicaa in the Valley of the Wind.
Yeah.
It was like listening to the voices off of a tape recorder while you're watching the movie. And I know that's like 1986,
yeah.
so that's kind of normal for that. But even in their stuff from the early 90s, that still was a little bit of a recording theme, especially for the dub. But with this one, it's like the voices matched up perfectly.
Yeah.
And it was, it helped submerge you better into the world.
Okay.
I mean, me personally, out of 10, I would give it an 8.
Okay.
I mean, I actually really enjoyed the movie.
Yeah.
What did you think about it?
Animation wise, I think it's beautiful, like any Ghibli film. Story wise, it wasn't my favorite, but it wasn't a bad story. I like how they like go through the house and like go through all the back ways through the house and show the interiors of it and how they get around.
Yeah.
Arrietty, I mean, like courage for her is she's right out the gate with it.
Yeah.
Like she's like ready to like gun ho. When we first see her, she's out in the grass exploring it. With like no fear with the cat and trying to get her and whatnot.
Yeah.
And you can just tell like the parallel between her and her mother. Like her mother's like just petrified of stepping foot outside that little house they have.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And you brought up courage, and courage is what we're going to talk about tonight. And to me, that was one of the biggest things.
Yeah.
And we've touched on courage for the past couple of weeks, especially whenever we talked about compassion. It takes a lot of courage in today's world to be compassionate.
It does.
Because, people look at you in such weird ways with compassion. Is your compassion legit?
Yep.
Is it for looks? Is it for popularity? Is it for your pride? Or is it real?
Yeah.
And you got to be prepared to face that kind of criticism and judgment. But courage goes a whole lot deeper. And that's where our verse comes in tonight. It's 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7. It says, "For God gave us a spirit not of fear, but of power and love and self-control." And that is such a huge thing. Now, this comes from a letter written by Paul. I mean, Raver Mom's not here, so we're going to dig a little deeper together. It's written by Paul, and by now Raver Mom loves Paul. And Paul, I love Paul. Paul is, he's not just a preacher. He's a teacher, but he's also like a father figure in the church at this point. And he's not just a father figure to the whole church, but also to the individual leaders that are over the church.
All right.
Which is what Timothy was. He was a leader over one of the churches that Paul helped start.
Okay.
And he was reminding Timothy of his lineage in chapter 1, and this is at toward the beginning of chapter 1, and he literally is reminding him, you come from a family of great faith. It says right here. I'll read it real quick. Starting in verse 3. Says, "I thank God whom I serve, as did my ancestors, with a clear conscience, as I remember you constantly in my prayers night and day. As I remember your tears, I long to see you, that I may be filled with joy. I am reminded of your sincere faith, a faith that dwelt first in your grandmother Lois and your mother Eunice, and now I am sure dwells in you. For this reason, I remind you to fan the flame of the gift of God which is in you through the laying on of my hands. For God gave us a spirit not of fear, but of power, love, and self-control.
Cool.
So he is reminding Timothy, but your grandmother had it.
Yeah.
Your mother had it. You have it. And whenever he talks about the laying of hands, he's talking about, the blessing prayed over him. He's talking about that calling that rained down on him. And that calling came with such extreme faith. And that faith is almost like an inheritance for him. And he, again, he is at the forefront of starting a Christian church.
That's scary back then.
Yeah, I mean, he's like he'd be what you would consider a senior pastor today.
Okay.
Or an executive pastor. He would be like the bishop in the local church type deal.
Oh, wow.
That is a pretty scary deal.
Yeah.
But, you have a teacher like Paul, and Paul took the commission very serious. The Great Commission is, go therefore out into the world, making disciples of all men, baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. Paul took this very seriously, especially the go create disciples part.
Okay.
I mean, this dude was a traveling church planter. Okay, he's starting churches everywhere, and it was in Gentile, we talked about Gentiles, based non-Jews.
Yep.
And he would start these churches, and his biggest focus throughout Paul's time was Greece.
Mm-hmm.
And just in that fact right there, Paul showed a lot of courage, because he was not popular at all.
Wow.
In Greece and Rome, not popular, because he's preaching Jesus in areas where Jesus definitely did not exist.
No.
And they at that point, they were stuck on their Greek gods and goddesses and everything else, and he's preaching against it.
Yeah.
He's preaching against it, but he's also introducing
a new
thing. And his disciples took on that same mantle. And Timothy it seems like Timothy is one that he really took to. Because, we got two books of Timothy.
Okay.
1 Timothy, 2 Timothy, and both of them are letters from Paul to Timothy. And they're letters of correction. They're letters of encouragement. They're letters of wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and in this specific one, Timothy needed to be lifted up.
Okay.
I can't really say what was going on at that, in Timothy's church at that time, but he had to be discouraged. Rumors had to have come to Paul for him to write this letter, that he was discouraged. And that courage is that courage to move on and to push past and to go into something unknown is huge.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever we look at the secret world of Arrietty, that's what she does.
She does.
Is that courage to push past the fears of those others that are around her, which at this point are her parents.
Mm-hmm.
She respects her parents.
Yep.
But she always had but what if?
Yep.
A couple of times she asked that, but what if? What if it's not like that? What if we could make friends?
Yeah.
And that right there is something that we as Christians have to constantly look at, because we're asked questions like that. What if your Christian religion is false?
Yeah.
What if Jesus never walked the earth? What if Jesus was just a regular man?
Right.
What if God doesn't exist? We have to be prepared to stand up for that. just talking about it, it doesn't seem that intimidating.
No.
But whenever you're in the midst of it,
Yeah.
that's hard.
Yeah.
And some people, it's hard for them to grasp the concept of the fact that God is real.
Yep.
Jesus did come down. He did die for our sins. These are his teachings.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got not just biblical proof now, but as time has gone down, we've got archaeological proof. We've got scientific proof. I mean, there's so much proving that what was in the Bible and what is in the Bible is legit.
Mm-hmm.
Every time somebody tries to debunk it, they only prove it right.
Yep.
And I'm reminded of a book that was turned into a movie that was written about a real guy called The Case for Christ.
Okay.
And he was a full-blown atheist.
All right.
Well, he wasn't an atheist. He was an agnostic.
Agnostic, yeah.
An agnostic doesn't believe in anything.
Mm-hmm.
But he married a woman, and she also was. Well, I think she was the atheist.
All right.
And she got saved.
Okay.
And she came home, told him that, hey, I gave my life to Jesus today. And, of course, he's thinking, oh, great. Now I have to deal with this. Now you're going to be pushing Jesus on me. And he decided, because he went to law school.
Yep.
And then on top of that, he was an investigative journalist.
Okay.
And so he decided to put both things to the test.
Mm-hmm.
He was going to do all the research, and he was going to put together a case to go against God to prove that God did not exist.
Wow.
And you can hear interviews where he was telling the story himself outside of the book. It's on YouTube and everything else. And he would tell the story, and he said, the further I went, the more the evidence stacked up against me. And in the end, the only conclusion, without a doubt, was that it is all real.
Mm.
And this was a culmination of years.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a couple of weeks. It wasn't a couple of months. It was years that he did this. And in the end, there was no way you could say that Jesus didn't exist, that God doesn't exist. And, we have to be prepared to, be confronted by people like that. And not only that, we've been talking about compassion and stuff like that. There are people who will question a Christian's, a Christian's initiative.
Yep.
Whenever it comes to caring for people and helping people, and a church as a whole.
Yep.
They will, a lot of people think that the church is just there to manipulate and to control. And, once you get down to brass tacks, that's not the way it is. No. But as Christians, we've got to undergo that criticism. We have to go through that attack. And in the Bible, Jesus even said that if we follow him and we follow his teachings and we take the gift that he has for us, that we should be prepared to suffer the same way he suffered. Right. So it's not like we blindly are walking into this, because we were warned. Yep. You read your Bible, we're warned. People aren't going to like you.
Yep.
Some Christians aren't going to like you, And, you have to have that boldness in your faith, that courage in your faith to keep moving forward. And that is such a huge thing. I know that and I've shared where this ministry has come from.
Mm-hmm.
And, it started out just on me.
Right.
Because I was the one who was at the forefront of everything. And I got criticized by a lot of people, both in the church and out. And then, whenever I shared everything with Raver Mom,
Yep.
Raver Mom came in on it. And the same stuff that was going against me for this ministry
Yep.
was now on her. The whole entire point of this ministry is to be a bridge.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes, just doing this podcast alone sometimes takes a lot of courage because we get a lot of criticism for it. I don't know if you've had to face it or not.
No, I haven't.
But I'm very outgoing about this podcast. So, I do see it quite a bit. But it's pretty awesome. And, I thank God that He has equipped us with the courage that we need. And, it's very humbling. I mean, I think that's another thing, is that courage is humbling.
Yeah.
You kind of have to humble yourself sometimes to be courageous.
Yep. Definitely, yeah. I think being humble is a step you need to take for courage, to enact courage sometimes.
Courage is... It's hard to talk about, to be quite honest with you. Just because of the fact that whenever you look at courage from an outside perspective, it's just, push on.
Yeah, push on, yeah.
But what really creates courage?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what you got to look at. And that's the hard part.
Yeah.
Is what is true courage made of? And, self-sacrifice.
Yep.
Self-control.
Discipline.
Love and meaning.
Yep.
Why is it I'm sorry, if you're being courageous just to puff yourself up, that ain't courage.
No.
To me, that's more cowardice. And humility.
Yeah.
I mean, a truly courageous person isn't going to want the reward at the end.
No.
He's not going to want the medal. He's not going to want to be honored.
Yep.
He did what, he or she did.
Yep. Because that's what needed to be done.
Needed to be done. And, that is Arrietty in a nutshell.
Yep.
And by the end of the movie, not only was Arrietty's humility shown greatly,
mm-hmm.
but you can tell the difference in the way her parents were.
Yep.
Her parents became more humble. Instead of high-strung and
Yep.
they started humbling themselves beyond. So it's that, that's where this movie really, really speaks to me personally. At the heart of the secret world of Arrietty, we see how Arrietty's courage is tested and strengthened as she faces the unknown. At first, her bravery is fueled by curiosity, sneaking out on her first borrowing mission, eager but nervous about stepping out into the world much bigger than her own. As the story unfolds, her courage matures. It is no longer just about the thrill of adventure, but about standing firm when her family is in danger, showing compassion towards Sho despite the risks, and fighting the strength to let go when it's time to move on. Arrietty doesn't allow fear to dictate her choices. Instead, she learns to act with boldness, love, and wisdom. This growth beautifully echoes the words of 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7, "For God gave us not a spirit of fear, but of power and love and self-control." Just as Arrietty learned to lean into courage rather than shrink back in fear, we too are called to live out the spirit God has given us. For her story reminds us that true courage isn't reckless. It's rooted in love with a sound mind, guiding us to step forward in faith even when the path is uncertain. Question time.
All right.
What does Arrietty's journey teach us about what it means to live with the spirit God gives? Power, love, and self-control rather than fear.
My takeaway from it was be adventurous, be curious. Always ask why. Be the one to push the envelope of normality.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and she did that by the boatload.
Yeah.
And it's definitely true. I mean, curiosity is what fueled the disciples to begin with.
Yep.
You have this man walk up to you while you're working and say, "Hey, follow me." That part of that was, wow, what does this guy have?
Yep.
What is it about this dude that just draws me? And they followed that curiosity.
Yep.
And they had to be bold in that curiosity to learn. And I think that curiosity is something that is kind of, it's not so much seen too much anymore. I mean, you would have, kids would be so curious,
Mm-hmm.
and they would explore, and
Yep.
they would, go outside and try to figure stuff out. Now that you've got the internet, there's no point in being truly curious, because you can just say, "Hey, Google, what's this?"
Yep.
And get your answer, and then, okay, whatever, and go on your merry way.
Yep.
That's where, with the Otaku kids, we limit their time on the internet.
Okay.
We limit their time on a computer, and we encourage them to go outside. Go catch a lizard. go play with bugs. Explore a
Yep.
little bit, and discover the world firsthand. Discover
Yep.
God's creation firsthand, instead of having Google tell you about it. And Princess Pika, she's hilarious because she is one of the most curious kids ever. She wants to be an anthropologist,
Okay.
and she loves skeletons, like animal skeletons,
Right.
human skeletons. She just likes
Wow.
bones. She really likes bones, and she told us, "I want to be an anthropologist." And I was like, wow, okay. And we go to, she loves Halloween, not because of candy time, but because there's skeletons and skulls. And we go to the store, and we're like, "Oh yeah, buying her this toy, you
Yeah.
know." And she decided she didn't want the toy, she wanted a skull. And we're looking at, why do you want a skull? Well, skulls are cool. And that's whenever she told us, "I want to be an anthropologist." And I was like, dude, okay, I can cultivate that. But she is truly curious to the point to where, she will find like a dead lizard
Mm-hmm.
that is nothing but bones, and she will sit there and look at the bones of the lizard.
Wow.
And she's trying to learn the bone structure of the lizard.
Wow.
I mean, it's really, true curiosity is cool to watch,
Yeah.
because once they hit that point, it's like endless.
Yeah.
I mean, it's true passion builds off of curiosity.
It does.
And, where people would look at her weird. She'll tell the kids at school, I like dead things, and they look at her like she's, weird. But
Yep.
it's not weird. It's, and she's very adamant about
Yeah.
it. She, in that way, I think Princess Pika herself is being pretty courageous in what she is curious about.
Yeah.
And what she wants to learn. And she doesn't even know it.
Yeah, and it's good that she's finding that drive now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, she's so solid in it too.
Yep.
I mean, she is so young, but she is so solid in it.
Mm.
An anthropologist. I mean, what kid just says, "I want to be an anthropologist"?
Yeah.
No, She wants to be an anthropologist. And back in the day, I wanted to be an archaeologist. Then I became a pastor. But my passion for history is still there.
Yep.
You know. Whenever it comes to the movie, I think her courage towards Sho and the fact that she wanted to help him so bad. She wanted to befriend him so bad because she noticed something that she could not explain. And that's where the curiosity factor there comes in. And she was not afraid to speak her mind.
Nope.
Whenever it came to the way Sho talked to her. You know? And throughout the courage to speak, she found out that the reason why he was talking like that was because of the fact that they basically told him he was dying.
Yep.
And he wasn't expecting to live long anymore. You know? And I think that's where courage and love comes in.
Yeah.
You know, true courage, there's a love behind it. Whenever soldiers go to war, some of them go for the love of their country. Some of them go, you know, instead of going with the pressure to you know, fight for their country, they go with the state of mind that I'm going to protect my family.
Yep.
You know, whenever you have like all the guys with the Purple Hearts, I'm pretty sure whenever they ran in there to get their buddy out, they didn't go in there for the glory of it. They went in there because they loved their brother.
Yeah.
You know, and that right there, you know, the love and courage.
Yep.
And the fact that they were able to, you know, even, you know, talking about the war-based part of it, you know, courage.
Yeah.
They have enough awareness and self-control whenever they go in head first like that, that they pull it off and come out alive themselves.
Yeah.
And that is amazing. I mean, to go in there with a panicked, clear mind.
Yeah.
It's an oxymoron, but you know that there's panic going through their body, but they have the clarity of mind to
channel it
in and take care of business.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where, you know, that courage seemed to come in for me, and that you know, spirit that God gives.
Yep.
Okay, for a fun question.
All right.
If you were only a few inches tall, what part of the human world would you feel the most exciting or the most dangerous to explore? Or you can give an example of both.
I mean, easily the most dangerous is going to be anywhere outside.
What's dangerous? Everywhere.
Everywhere.
What do you think would be the most exciting?
Oof. I don't know, try to get like toy cars to actually run or something, I guess.
Let me hop in this car and wait for them to start playing with the remote control.
Yeah.
Be like the, what was that, Stuart Little?
The Stuart Little, yeah.
The little car?
Yep.
Yeah. That'd be fun. You would be able to get cars so cheap.
You're not going to go far, but...
Hey. Get a wind-up one that is able to steer.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to control the speed. Just don't hit anything. Me, I think the most dangerous would be the ocean. That small, you wouldn't be able to handle even the slightest current.
No.
Most exciting? I think the most exciting place that you could probably go would be like if you could get inside of like a geode with
like,
light refracting in it.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, think about the color, man.
Okay.
To experience what it's like inside of a geode. I mean, it'd be kind of hard for them to get into one.
It would be, yeah.
But I mean, just the thought of going into something like that, or going into a stained glass box or something, just to see how the light refracts through all of that stuff, I think would be cool.
Okay.
To experience that kind of color on such an extreme level, I think would be pretty cool. That and jumping up and down on a subwoofer. But that's a different story. Yeah, no, that's where I would be on that. But even exploring those types of deals at that height would be a massive aim of courage.
It would.
To do it. You know, and Arrietty's story shows us that courage is not about the absence of fear, but the choice to live beyond the fear.
Yeah.
Time and again, she leans into the spirit of power, love, and self-control, whether in protecting her family, showing kindness to show, or stepping boldly into a world far bigger than herself. In the same way, God calls us to trust that He has equipped us with everything we need to face in life's challenges. When we rely on His Spirit, we can step forward in faith, knowing that courage rooted in love will always carry us further than fear ever could. Raver Mom is not here tonight.
Nope.
We went to the Comic-Con in Ocala.
Okay.
And she's tired. You know, we did that, and then we had church and stuff this morning, and church is always a busy morning for us. So she has to get up early tomorrow to be the third grade teacher. So she asked if she could
sit this one out.
Sit this one out and go get some sleep, rest up. And we completely understand that. Yep. So it was like, yes, go. So we were going to do the Anime World mashup this week, but we are not going to do it this week. We're going to do it next week. So what I figured we could do, K2, is some questions from a cup.
All right.
So we're going to grab the trusty cup. Here's a question.
All right.
It's on the anime end. What is the last anime that you watched completely, and what did you think about it?
Completely?
Yep, beginning to end.
Does ongoing count, or like just a full series?
I would think that ongoing should count.
Okay.
I mean, if you're completely caught up and it's going nowhere.
I think then, so that would make it Frieren Beyond Journey's End.
I haven't watched that one yet.
It's a good one.
Yeah. What would you say is like a highlight of it?
It's about an elf who's lived thousands of years, and she's just realizing how precious a human life is. Okay. So she's kind of taking in that experience.
Gotcha. That actually sounds kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it. I haven't watched it. Just because of the fact that it is like, it's another fantasy anime, and most fantasy animes, they kind of get monogamous.
Yep.
And it's usually the retelling of the same story.
Yeah.
And that one I might have to actually check out.
Yeah, no, that it's a good one.
I just finished watching Eureka 7.
Okay.
And I started watching Eureka 7. Man, I started watching Eureka 7 over 16 years ago.
Wow.
And I never finished it. I watched the first season, didn't go any further. And a buddy of mine let me borrow his Blu-ray set. And we kind of did an anime swap. He borrowed one of my series. I borrowed one of his.
Okay.
He borrowed Earth SOS, and I borrowed Eureka 7. Mm-hmm. And I finally finished it, and the ending was not what I expected.
Okay.
The ending was a good ending. It kind of left open a lot of questions, but it was a question of where does it go from here.
Mm-hmm.
not really a question of what's going to happen to those people because you already knew the gist of what was going to happen.
Okay.
And since it's an older show, I can elaborate a little bit
Yep.
more. And if you haven't watched it, spoiler alert, but the show has been out for a very long time. So basically, they saved the planet,
Okay.
you know, because they were fighting for their world. They saved the planet, and basically this alien type of life form, this alien like coral,
Okay.
came out of space down to Earth, and it took over. And it wasn't maliciously taking over. It's just the only way that it could communicate was to merge with other life forms.
Okay.
Because it communicated through like electrical energies and stuff like that. And so the people of Earth went to space. 10,000 years later, they returned to a planet that could support life, and come to find out that it was Earth, but it had been completely taken over by this coral stuff.
Oh, wow.
And so there were no oceans or anything like that. It was desert and, you know, weird energy fields that they would surf on and stuff like that. And come to find out that the Earth and all its oceans and everything were underneath.
The
It
coral?
was like underneath the land and stuff,
Oh,
which
wow.
is basically the coral.
Yeah.
And it ended with them, you know, basically cracking the coral.
Okay.
The coral left Earth and basically gave Earth back to them.
Mm-hmm.
Some, like the areas where there were civilizations,
Mm-hmm.
stayed, but the other areas that were not were gone. You know, the coral left. Took that with them, and it uncovered Earth's oceans and everything at the end.
Okay.
The lead, the female protagonist, she was an alien being called a Corellian, and the male protagonist, he was human,
Okay.
and they fell in love. And so at the end, she sacrificed herself to save the world.
Okay.
But the human antagonist, not antagonist, protagonist, his name was Remington. Renton. It's Renton. Renton Thurston. He jumped into a mech, and it's an alien mech that was born from this coral.
Okay.
And it evolved, and he went to go save his woman, basically. And through the course of sacrificing himself, it proved to the alien life forms, of the coral, that humans could be trusted. And so the mech was actually a consciousness, and the mech looked at them and said, thank you, you've proven that we could coexist and all of this stuff. And he released it was the female protagonist. Her name is Eureka. He released Eureka from being what held everything together for this alien coral, and they basically got launched somewhere on one of many of Earth's continents, okay? Because they were in what we would call Africa.
Okay.
And they were launched from there to somewhere else. But at the end of the show, Eureka adopted 3 human kids, because of war and stuff like that she was involved in. She basically killed the kids' parents, and then it hit her, what I'm doing is wrong, whenever she saw the kids. And so she adopted the kids. And the weird thing is Renton is like a 14, 15-year-old teenager. Okay. but he had to grow up really fast.
Yep.
And Eureka is this alien creature who looks to be the same age, but is actually not. But at the end, whenever he decides he's going to go save Eureka, he hands a bag with some papers in it to the oldest child. And he says, "Hold on to this for me." And he jumps into it's the mech is called the Nirvash.
Okay.
And he jumps into it, and he leaves the kids on the ship with the crew, which they're more like a family than anything. They helped raise the kids. So
right.
It wasn't just, I'm leaving you with a random ship. But you find out afterwards, because like it shows like a flash forward like a year or something like that. And you see Renton's grandfather, who raised Renton.
Okay.
And he's sitting in a restaurant with the 3 kids, and he calls them his great-grandchildren.
Cool.
And the paperwork that was inside of the bag was basically like a living will type deal that the children go to his grandfather.
Okay.
And it also, as proof that they were Renton's children, was almost like a wedding and like a marriage and adoption certificate.
Okay.
And on there you see Eureka Thurston, Renton Thurston, and then all these kids' names with the last name Thurston. And his last act was to make their family official before he went in to do that, so that he can make sure that the kids were taken care of.
Okay.
And the grandfather, like they go out to see this event that is happening, with the stars, and the kids and the grandfather are standing there watching it, and the kids fold their hands, and he's like, "What are you doing?" "Oh, we're praying that Mommy and Daddy will be back soon." And nobody knows what happened to them. Well, all of a sudden you see their beacon lights in the middle of this continent, and they're together, but they have to figure out a way to get back. So you know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
They're going to eventually get off the island. They're going to go to where, Renton's hometown is, and they're going to reunite. So it left questions, but you knew what was going to happen, So it wasn't what I would call like a hole-in-one type ending, but it wasn't bad.
Right.
But the show altogether was, I liked it. It was cool. I would rank it as one of the better mech shows. I'm not a big Gundam guy. I like the original Gundam Wing. I don't like where it went after. And, that will probably be an unpopular opinion in some circles, but I think Eureka 7 was a really cool series for mechs. I finished that this past weekend.
Cool.
Yeah. So yeah, that for me is the question, or the answer to that question. You want to draw?
Sure. Let's see, what do we got here? All right. Favorite sci-fi spaceship.
Favorite sci-fi spaceship. Wow. It's bad that I can't remember the name of the ship.
Well, while you're looking for it, I don't know. For me, it's a tie between a Gloriana class cruiser from Warhammer 40K.
Okay.
And the Venator from Star Wars.
Okay. Now, what do you like about those?
Well, like, I like the Gloriana just because it's so massive. It looks so gothic. It just looks cool. And kind of the same with the Venator. is that it looks cool. It's a battleship / carrier spaceship.
Okay.
So
For me, mine's a little bit more old school, and one's really old school. It'd be a tie between the ship from the Flight of the Navigator.
okay.
And way back in the early days of Disney, they made a movie called The Black Hole.
I've never even heard of that one.
I'm going to have to introduce you to
Yes.
The Black Hole. I've got it. It is one of my favorite movies. But there is a ship there called the USS Cygnus.
Okay.
And that ship is so huge, it's like a city.
Wow.
And I mean, it has all the amenities you would need. It has, never-ending supply of food because it's got a huge greenhouse, and it's got kitchens and living quarters, and it has shops and stuff like that in there. And it is, just huge, and it's one of these ships where you could live on this thing forever. Even if the ship no longer moved, it had a power supply in it that would keep the what do you call that?
Life support?
Life support going infinitely.
Oh, wow.
So it's a really cool one. Plus, it had the ability to sit right outside of a black hole, and the black hole not pull it in.
Wow.
A really cool ship. But yeah. It'd be a tie between those. I mean,
Okay.
Of course, the Flight of the Navigator ship, because it can go through time and space.
Yep.
And that thing can either be like a fun little cruiser, or it's got, like a sport mode where you flip a switch and it stretches out and it goes like 1,000,000 miles an hour. Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, those would be my two
Cool.
ships, which would probably surprise Raver Mom. Those would be my ships, but those are the ships. But yeah, if you haven't seen The Black Hole, it's not an anime, it's a live action. You will recognize the actors that are in it.
Okay.
Because this is like a time when some pretty popular actors were just starting.
Okay.
And it's really cool. I had the opportunity before they changed MGM Studios up to, all the stuff that they did for like Star Wars and stuff like that. They used to have a museum there. It was a sci-fi museum.
Oh, wow.
And they had like the original Darth Vader
Oh, cool.
costume there. And they had the original puppet miniatures for the robots from the Black Hole.
Oh,
there.
okay.
So I got to see those, firsthand.
Nice.
1 foot away from my face type deal. Which, funny story. The time that I went to MGM, I've only gone to I only went to MGM once, and I went on a day where they were cleaning out the studio lots, and on the other side of a fence, where the museum was at, there was a fence that went, on the other side of the fence were the old studio lots where they used to do filming out there. And there was some stuff pulled out, and so I told my grandmother, because there was like a smoking area back there, and I told my grandmother, I want to go back there and see what they're pulling out of the studios. And so we walked back there, and they had the original Flight of the Navigator ship out there.
Oh, wow.
And they had the snow cruiser that Luke Skywalker
Oh, the
crashed.
snow speeder? Yeah. Oh, that's
and
cool.
Empire Strikes Back was out there next to it.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, dude, I wish I could just go, put my hands on this stuff and actually take a look at it. My grandmother, she was a rebel all the way through. She looked at me, she goes, jump the fence, I'll keep an eye out. So I hopped the fence and I got to get a closer look at the snow speeder, and the ship from Flight of the Navigator is not something that opened up. It was literally just the model that they used for whenever it flew and stuff like that. I got to get a closer look up at that, which was really cool. And my grandmother's like, there's people coming, come on, get back over here, and I hopped back over and we bolted and rode the rock and roller coaster. But that was a really cool thing to experience. One, being able to look at those ships, but have a rebellious story of that with my grandmother.
Yeah, that's just a cool story to have a memory of.
That was my grandmother. She, always adventurous, and the stories that she would tell about her life were, adventurous, and a lot of it was taking risks. And
cool.
Yeah, I don't think any other grandparent out there, for the most part, would be like, hop the fence, I'll be a lookout, go take a look at them things, But yeah, that's not my first run-in with movie props and movie vehicles. I did culinary competitions growing up in high school. And my first year doing the competition was at Universal Studios back in one of their recording lots.
Oh, okay.
And they had to empty the sound stage where the competition was going to be at, because it was also being aired on TV.
Oh, okay.
And so they had to empty out the thing. Well, the warehouse that we were doing it in, or the studio we were doing it in, was where they kept all the cars.
Oh, wow.
So I got to see the original Ecto-1. I got to see the original Back to the Future car. I got to see the original Batmobile. I got to see the Keaton Batmobile.
Nice.
Saw the George Clooney Batmobile.
Okay.
And a couple of other cars that I can't remember off the top of my head. But I got to see a lot of cars for that one. And they had to have their staff there telling us not to go near them because of the fact that they didn't have them roped off.
Yeah.
They were literally outside of the soundstage. Like, if they weren't there, we could have opened up the door and hopped in. Which realistically, I think if it was a smaller set of students, they probably wouldn't have cared. But it was 40 schools.
Oh, that's a lot.
And each team for the main event had six people on a team.
Oh, okay.
And then on top of that, they had what was called a waiters relay, which had 4. And then they had a centerpiece competition, which was 1.
Okay.
So that pretty much tells you we had 11 kids. So 40 times 11, that's how many kids were there.
Wow.
Not including chaperones and teachers.
Just let the winning parents and the winning kids have a day in there.
Yeah. So let us help you drive the cars back in. It's a very big warehouse, But it was really cool to experience that as well, and to see like the OG, not replicas, but the legit original cars.
Yeah, the filmed.
So yeah, it's really cool to be able to say, yeah, I was back there at the sound stages, and I got to see that. And they took really good care of those cars. They were pretty clean.
Nice.
So yeah. I know that goes a little farther than favorite shit, but I got to see one of my top 2. No, I actually got to see both of them.
Both of them, yeah.
Because in the museum, the miniature that they used for the Cygnus was behind glass.
Okay.
And it was the original model that was sitting out in front of the black hole. So technically, I saw both of my ships up close and personal. So, yeah. That right there in itself is pretty cool. In closing, let's remember 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7. For God gave us a spirit not of fear, but of power and love and self-control. And also let us remember that as we look at the stories brought to life by Studio Ghibli through the lens of faith, let us be reminded that the greatest adventures aren't just on the screen. They're in how we choose to live out God's love, hope, courage, and grace each day. Join us as we close in prayer. Father God, I thank you for the opportunities to stand up and be courageous, not just in our personal lives, Father God, but the ability to be courageous in our faith. And not just a faith that we hold to ourselves, but a faith that moves past us. God, I pray that as time goes on, let that courage strengthen and not fizzle out. God, I ask that as you open our eyes to see you in the wonder and the lessons and the beauty around us, even in the worlds created by artists and animators, that you let our passion for anime draw us closer to your truth. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Thanks for hanging out with us on Reb's Otaku Talk Ghibli Fest. Make sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform, and don't forget to like and follow us on our Facebook page at Reb's Otaku Talkers and on X at Reb's Otaku Talk. We'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment, leave a review, and share your favorite anime and God moments with the otaku community. Also, check out Reb's Otaku Shop and grab some awesome merch, and don't miss out on a bag of Reb's Konkohi coffee. The link is in the description below. Until next time, keep your anime collection strong and your faith stronger. See you later, guys.
Take care, all.
That Cupkid Koopa's crown, can he keep it up? Listener mail and fan debates. We love the art the Lord creates. From Studio Ghibli to Naruto, God speaks in ways you didn't know. Stories rise like rising sun. We break them down one by one. Chew, this ain't just hype, it's revelation. Anime with holy inspiration. Otaku life with transformation. Faith and fandom, no limitation. It's Ribs! Otaku Talk! From JoJo's post to Spirit Lead, we laugh, reflect, and plant that seed. It's Ribs! Otaku Talk! So hit that play, don't walk away. Let's geek and grow in Jesus' way. O-T-A-K-U, talking truth in all we do. Revs crew, rolling through. Faith meets fandom just for you.